I said, yo, I got the spoken word on the go. No one thought to get a spoken word out of Joe. I went from smoking herb on the block to spoken word down by the Mersey dock. But I got swallowed up by the river, so I thought I'd swim like the fish, yeah. Out to the sea, down to the deep, forward no retreat. You thought you're never going to see me again. Yeah, I thought you're never going to see me again. Except that is until I found Atlantis, SpongeBobbed in the college. You get it, soaked up the knowledge. I floated back to the surface like fresh air. Baywatch swaggered up the beach without a care. People been saying, what's the story? You been finding Dory, you been finding Nemo. I tell them, no, I've been finding Just Joe. I like that. Yeah, I've been finding Just Joe. Been finding myself, been finding true health, been finding new wealth. Just Joe as his new self, speaking the truth and the truth will be felt. You feel it? I said the truth's gonna be felt. Because I've got a purpose, I've got a plan. It's gonna keep building up just like a dam. Give you an inty-winty portion, and I got you on the spout. If I let it all go, you know I'd wash it all out. You'd say, holy water, oh my gosh. Did he just shower us in love? Was that a holy wash? But trust to keep a man for lie, that's a holy watch. Oh God, we haven't got much time, check the holy swatch. So listen, simply put, I've had me back to the future, me front to the past. Lost me Marty McFly feeling, but I knew it wouldn't last. So now I've laced up me Doc Browns, I'm never coming last. Watch me put this time on a loop while you relax and have a blast. Yes, I'm Just Joe. I'm a spoken word artist, and that was kind of a metaphorical expression of my journey into spoken word. Kind of going from just being a person who wrote poetry in their bedroom for themselves to stepping into the local poetry spoken word scene down in the city centre, and then kind of feeling a bit engulfed by some of the egos and some of the personalities on the scene. So I kind of like ran away from it. And in running away, I kind of reassessed my situation and actually found an amazing company called 20 Stories High, who had a program called Launch, which was helping people become self-employed in the arts industry. And that kind of helped guide me in the right path. And then since then, I've worked with some amazing companies, and I'm just going to plug one, Kitchen Sink Live. Yes. So yeah, that was what that was. This is the big brainwash. For all the people with the 50-inch, the 60-inch, the 70-inch on the stand or hanging off the wall. The ones with the camera, the voice recognition, the internet, the curve, the ones that have got it all. I've got a message for you. Get away from the screen and take a big step back. And well done. You just took your first step into recovery and taking your life back. You see, you control your life, not the TV remote. So listen to these words that I wrote for you in this note. Life is the main programme, and this reality is a commercial. The brainwashing's begun, and it's no dress rehearsal. The signal's being sent, and the peasants are all tuning in. For the opening credits, the big show's about to begin. Fear's about to rule these waves like the British Empire in its heyday. So make sure the receivers are switched on to listen to everything that they say. Because they're not telling lies, they wouldn't dare do that to you. You see all their evidence with your eyes, so surely they're telling the truth. There's no personal agendas behind the things that you see. They're not getting you prepped for the game of pick me. I'll lead this country. Don't listen to the other guy. He's spreading his fear and he's telling you lies. When it's all a big game, they're getting us hyped up. Everyone's down at the pubs talking about terrorists and immigrants instead of government cuts. Because they're trying to divide us. They're shitting themselves because they've seen we can all live together. We're all working the same jobs, kids in the same school, and we're all under the same shitty British weather. And they know the more we realise that we're all from the same of the same, the more it'll continue down the generations again and again. And it'll keep getting larger, and we'll become a collective, and everything we're owed, we'll turn round and collect it. We'll kick the fuckers out, and we'll never let them back. We'll tell them you can keep your money and your capitalism, your figures and your facts. You can keep your fear because we can't be divided. In fact, you can go fuck yourselves. You can keep your wars in other countries and your privatised health. You can keep your student fees and you can keep your austerity. You can keep your immigration laws and you can keep your foreign policies, because now we control the message and we're beaming it out to the world and the universe, and we'll scream and we'll shout. Peace, love and prosperity. And obviously, good health is how we determine our happiness and is what we perceive as our wealth. And if you want to be a part of the collective, all you have to do is tune in. And instead of listening to them, play your part in our show that's about to begin. So that was the big brainwash. And it was written at a time when there was a lot of different things going on. You kind of had, you was around a general election or what was leading up to a general election. You had like the initial stages of Brexit going on. And like it doesn't directly reference those things, but it more speaks to the political rhetoric of what was going on and kind of the manipulation behind the propaganda that's like just permeating from British politics. So yeah, it was kind of a response, and it's kind of it was near the start of like my journey in terms of like wanting to get out there and be more politically active in terms of the spoken word that I was doing. So that's why it's kind of like our show's about to begin, you know what I mean, or at least my show's about to begin. So like if you like what I'm saying, if you dig it and you feel it, like jump on board and let's try and propel that into a movement. So yeah, that was the big brainwash. This is Liar in the Booth. This goes out to those that choose to snooze on the proof that the truth is there's fakes in the booth. Fake rappers telling you the shooting on the roads, expecting you'll accept that the hood's an open goal. But if you take a sec to take a look behind the lie, analyse the character, evaluate the guy, ask a few questions, take note, you'll realise it won't take long before he chokes on porky pies. First he's telling you he's trapping and he's non-stop whipping. Rarely he feels trapped and been non-stop whiffing. Trying to live up to the image of a roadman, but go and ask about you, no one really knows, man. He'll put his face on camera, his voice upon the mic, preach he's got the answer, yeah. He knows about the life, he knows about the struggle, and he knows about the pain. He knows about the people that you never see again. But what's he really know when he's living in the studio, depicting you as life, yeah, as if it was a movie, oh. Well, let me get across that he doesn't know nothing. He's never let it off, no, he's never had it popping. You find him on the road, you catch a man stunting. If weapons let him go, wouldn't catch a man fronting. If you read between the lines, you'll see he's saying nothing. So apart from him, here's the biggest joke if you want to know something. If it kicked in the door and named the 4-4, all you did is, no, he doesn't live here no more. You ever kicked in the door and came with the pure force, all you did is bodies flying all through the walls. If it kicked in the door waving a raw sword, all you did is heads rolling all around the floor. You ever kicked in the door and named the 4-4? They crumble. Because the egos are fragile, the characters are weak. No, they're never on road, no, they're never on the street. The world that they promote, well, it's less than on fleek. And the truth is, if they cared, they wouldn't want it to repeat. Instead, they play the character, manipulating minds, find a catchy beat and then they lay some basic lines. Watch the money stack up and take it as a sign that only when you act tough, then you really climb. But if they pay the mind, then what they truly find is the people left behind, well, they're struggling to shine. Because they followed on the path that they thought would work for them. But none of what they said happened, no, all of it was penned. All of it was fake, yeah, none of it was true. But now their life's at stake because they're caught up in the loop, with no way to navigate what they're going through, because they got sucked in by the fake in the booth. It makes me want to kick in the door and name the 4-4. All you there is, no, he doesn't live here no more. Kick in the door and come with the pure force. All you there is bodies flying all through the walls. Yeah, kick in the door and wave a raw sword. All you there is heads rolling all around the floor. Kick in the door and name a 4-4. Nah, I'm just kidding, I'm better than that. But there's a model in the story, there's a lesson to be learned. Demolishing the glory is the blessing to be earned. Because when you understand that anyone can make it, when nothing's underhand or anything's been taken, just focus and attention on your chosen craft has opened an extension to your hopeful path. You don't need to fit the character or try to play the role. All the pieces live inside of you and you can make them whole. So just listen to the love in you, put it to good use. Don't get caught up in the act like the fake in the booth. Because when you're staying true to you and clocking up the views, it'll all just go to prove that people really will choose. And if there's something else to listen to, people won't be missing you. They'll stop tuning into what they know isn't really true. And one day I'll see you in an interview and you'll be saying, where's the liars now? Because fire's in the booth. That was Liar in the Booth, which it's weird. Like I've always had a passion and a love for hip hop, for rap, for grime, you know, for the articulation and of real stories. You know what I mean? This is like real life stuff, and it was never. I never viewed it as a situation where people were glorifying the dark side of life. It's more a situation that they were pointing it out. You know what I mean? And I speak, or I look to some of the best storytellers, like DMX just died, R.I.P. Like if you're talking English, I mean, Kano is just an amazing storyteller. Wretch Free 2, Akala, you know, these people, low key, these people are people who didn't just come to display some of the darker sides of life, but they also came to give some answers. They came to give education. So when I see some of these newer style rappers coming through and literally dismantling some of the amazing work and also changing the perception of the audience into the view of this is how they all live, you know what I mean? It really rubs me up the wrong way. And it was funny because I'd been listening to a bit of Kano, and then I was listening to Biggie, and I was listening to Kick in the Door, and it got to like the final verse, and he says like, this goes out to those who choose to use disrespectful views on the king of NY. And I thought, that's it, you know what I mean? Like that was the start of it. This goes out to those who choose to snooze on the proof that the truth is there's fakes in the booth. And that was kind of like the starting point. And I was like, just imagining like kicking in the door and seeing the real person behind the character, you know, how they'd melt. They're just not about that life. So yeah, that was kind of the inspiration around lying in the booth. And then I've kind of got a friend who always says you've always got to finish on a positive. You know, you always got to leave them with some sort of inspiration. So that's where the final verse comes into, you know, talking about all those creatives who are out there who are looking at that image as that's the right way to get where they need to be. You don't need that, you know what I mean? So yeah, that was it. This is called Crazy for Loving You. For nearly 11 years now, I've almost continuously smoked weed. Whether it be from insatiable greed, a consistent need, or the urge to feel freed. But regardless of the reason, for nearly 11 years now, I've almost continuously smoked weed. That's one of the hardest things I've ever confessed, but I've known I've had to admit it and say, because for the past few years now, I've told myself I'm going to quit every single day. No matter what it takes to do it, or how much it hurts, I'll push through it. And then, like goes another bughead, and back comes that voice that says, we just needed this one to make it to bed. One pull later, that voice is appeased. He disappears back to his hole, happy and pleased. And back comes the real me, with feelings of guilt and sorrow. And my body feels hollow. But it's okay, I say, because I'll start again tomorrow. The first time I ever tried weed, I never once thought over a decade would pass and I'd be addicted. But I'd just been in a fight with my dad and my thoughts were conflicted. I remember I was sitting with friends and I was watching this joint go round, and I was thinking, if this joint gets pastime, only going to do this to pastime so I can stop thinking of pastime. And the funny thing is, it worked for a good hour or two. My head was up high in the sky, watching the clouds pass me by, until I came crashing back down to earth like a lead balloon. So the first thing I did, got myself some more of that good stuff. First a 10 bag, then a 20, then up to 3 for 50. I couldn't stop. Before you know it, I'd only been smoking weed a couple of weeks and I was already up to buying an os. I started surrounding myself with people who smoked it. Next thing you know, I'm surrounded by people who grow it. Before I could see, I was getting paid with weed and I was the delivery boy who was getting asked to post it. So anyway, I remember I was sitting there talking to myself stone one night, and this voice asked me, is this the direction you want to take your life? Because it's like you're repeating a bad song, you know what you're doing is wrong, and on top of that, there's this voice back here saying that this is not right. So be honest with yourself, Joe. To you, what does addiction mean? And is the addiction you have really to the green? Or is it a crutch that holds you up from all those mental beatings of tough love you got growing up and all the fucked up shit that as a kid you shouldn't have seen. Don't you remember? It all started when you gave up hope. You were mentally broke and you were struggling to cope. All you wanted was to die. And then something came along that made you feel high and you felt like you could escape from having to be that guy. But you're not that guy. And smoking weed's okay as long as it's not for a distraction. As long as you start to understand why you felt the need to be distracted and start to take action. And all the people who you think have got your back, whoever came time to step up for you would take 2 steps back. Who were clinging on to you because their childhood's fucked up their worldview too, and now they're addicted to addiction like being addicted to crack. Well, listen, if I'm in your head and I'm saying this to you, then you already know that what I'm saying has got to be true. And the fight with addiction that you think you're going through is actually a fight with deeper issues that you've got inside of you. So what was the lesson learned? What did I find? Yes, I can say I have an addiction to weed, but yeah, addiction is a weed, only in the mind. And once it gets planted, it won't stop. Try to pull it out and you just get the leaves that are on top. You need to dig deep and get to the root cause, even if that means knocking down cerebral walls and unhinging cortex doors. Yes, exposing your flaws, but the answer is within you. And when you find it, the truth will be yours. Yeah, so that was Crazy for Loving You, and I mean it's kind of self-explanatory in the sense that, you know, it talks about the story of where it came from. You know, I was sat there stoned one night and I literally was like it felt like talking to an alter ego, but I was just talking to another part of me, or me. Like it made sense, but it didn't make sense. And anyone who's ever been stoned before knows when you get to a point where you're having like them deep philosophical discussions, yeah, you know how strange it can get. But then when you're having it with yourself, sometimes it's extra powerful. You know what I mean? So yeah, it kind of through this conversation with myself and through articulating it with poetry, it allowed me to sort of assess the situation and sort of take a different perspective. And by doing that, it allowed me to sort of see the bigger picture, which is, you know, smoking weed was never the problem that I had. The problem that I had, I was covering up by smoking weed. I was distracting myself from it. I was trying to find a way from not confront it and face it. And I think a lot of the time, the reason we automatically assume that is because of how much weed's being demonized. So it's seen as the stem of the problems, you know, the root of the problem, when really we have to try kind of be a bit realistic with how we're viewing things, you know, and understand that sometimes it's not the problem, it's just the symptom of the problem. So yeah, that's where I was at, and it was kind of like a big growth point for me. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. This is the unanswerable question. Who am I? A stressed out brain in a race to remember a time that was uncomplicated. Who am I? A stretched out face that tells the story of a smile that's overcompensated. Who am I? Thumbed out eyes that have seen things you'll never see. Who am I? Drummed out ears that have heard lies only you'd believe. Who am I? A hoarse voice challenging all the excuses of the world. Who am I? A coarse chin that's took all the punches and abuses of the world. Who am I? Overburdened shoulders that have carried the dead. Who am I? An uncertain chest that cushions a newborn's head. Who am I? A humbling heart that accepts all the truths of this reality. Who am I? Embracing arms that help bring a sense of calm and clarity. Who am I? Burnt hands that have been searching through the embers for the remainder of a soul. Who am I? A bruised and battered torso that's used to shield you whole. Who am I? Fatigue-stricken legs that carry themselves and all the rest. Who am I? Well-travelled feet that walk the walk and least of all get any rest. Who am I? I am the embodiment of strife. I am the eternal message that you have to strive when living life. I am you, and I am me. I am a mummy and daddy. I am everybody, and we all are one. Equal in the fact that no one knows how this all begun. Now I get it. We're all interconnected, of course. And the realization is, we're all from the same source. Then that must mean that we all return to the same source too. I know who I am now. The question is, do you? So that was just Joe. As you heard, I know who I am professionally now, so I'm on a journey to start to digitally collect all of this stuff, which thanks to Smithdown Social, I've had an opportunity to do today. I'll be doing more. If anyone wants to get involved or get at me, then check the links out in the description. If you want to show a little bit of support, just like, subscribe, comment, and at least then it helps push me work in the right direction. I just want to say a big thank you as well to Smithdown Social for giving me the opportunity, and also a big thank you to Bradley Thompson from Kitchen Sink Live, who's helped produce the video. So make sure you check them out and support them on their links, which will be in the description too.